Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Go grab your pets. We are all settling into the studio right now. Dr. Debbie, just getting ready to answer your pet questions, your veterinary medical questions. Joey Villani with your grooming questions. Judy is already screening calls. Lori actually is the first one that gets here in the morning, and she's already working on news for this hour. We'll do a quick check to see what she's working on in just a couple of seconds. I wanted to tell you first, Dr. Jane Goodall is supposed to be our guest today. And I'm not betting the ranch on this because she's a pretty big name, and you've been trying for at least a decade to get her on the air.
I tell you, if I get her on, I'm going to retire. That's like, you don't go any higher than that. That's it.
Okay, so hopefully, Jane, please show up for this because we need Judy here. Also,
no, if she shows up, I leave. That's it.
That's it?
Oh, really?
I say I quit after that because I can't do any
better. You can't get any better.
That's right. I've done it. The ultimate. There's nothing where for me to go for this job.
See, now I'm torn.
I agree.
No, I think I can advise maybe Mark Wahlberg might be the top for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're talking. You know, we did. Oh, who was that other guy? Josh.
Brolin.
No.
Josh
Duhamel.
Duhamel, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now Mark Wahlberg, and then I'll retire.
You know, we've had a lot of celebrities. You've done an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
Over 1,000 celebrities have been on the air with us since 2001 to late
2001.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry, I just had to pause and reflect there for 18 years of animal radio. And we continue on today. If this is your first day, well, welcome. Thanks for finally tuning in. We're going to go to the phones for your calls coming up in just a couple of seconds at 1-866-405-8405. Lori, what are you working on for news this hour?
Well, one of the fun stories I found early this morning, I'm going to share with you coming up here. It's actually a top 10 list, and I think we all love lists. But this one is on the most popular small and tiny breed dogs.
Oh, well, that's a gimme. I can tell you what tops that list.
Yeah, me too.
And you know what? I've seen the list, and what I thought was number one was not even in the top 10.
Oh, okay.
Okay, who made that list then?
We're going to stick around and find out.
It's according to the AKC.
Oh, yes, of course. Which one, Judy, are we going to? You've screened them all?
Line 2.
Are they all exciting calls?
They're all, but I want to go to 2.
Okay, going to 2 first. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Where do you call home?
Carmel, California.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Beautiful.
Where are you?
Well, we're in Central California, just down from you, but I got to tell you, that's one of those things that if you get to live where tourists go, you're very blessed.
I don't know. Sometimes it's not all that what it's cracked up to be, I
you're
gotta
in
say.
Vegas, though. You're in Vegas.
Kind
The
of like
gambling
a
only
vacation
goes-
all the time.
Yeah, and you know, it's sometimes just the gambling only goes so far, and you just like to get away from traffic and all that. So
Plus, remember, Vegas always wins. Ultimately, you may leave ahead one time, but when you come back, they'll get it back. I know you called to talk to the doctor. What's going on with your pets?
Well, about 6 months ago, I noticed my Russell's 12 years old, losing weight, and then she started limping. I was getting ready to go on a vacation, and she started throwing up and wasn't eating her food. And so I took her to the vet. We did blood tests, and it was kind of a rush thing, and kind of got her stabilized. And then when I came back from my vacation, she was fine. But if she overeats, she throws up. They told me that they palpated a little mass in her abdomen and that it could be cancer. And that they could do an ultrasound to find out, and if it's metastatic, they could do a chest X-ray. We did labs, and the BUN and creatinine was fine, so the renal failure was ruled out. Diabetes was ruled out, and thyroid was ruled out. She does have a leg, not the leg she limps on, that she chews at the joint all the time.
okay.
She's happy. She's got a lot of energy, and she wants to eat constantly. But if you overfeed her, then she throws up.
Okay. Now, did you mention that they took X-rays so far, or they were just talking about it so far?
No, we did do X-rays of the spine and the chest. The spine has a little spur on it, so that's probably the reason why she's limping. and the chest X-ray looks clear.
Okay. All right. Well, it troubles me that, this vomiting is occurring when there's larger volumes, because that would certainly give me concerned about the structure of the stomach. It's something potentially with the outflow of the stomach. And if they think they're feeling something inside the stomach or seeing something on the x-rays, then I certainly would move to an ultrasound, because it really can give us a better visualization of the structure of the organs. So x-rays only go so far. In many cases, we may see something or we may not see something. And if I still have a gut feeling that something's not right and the patient, all the signs are pointing towards something, then I'll move to an ultrasound. And it's pretty easy as far as getting that accomplished. And it may not tell us everything. When we're talking about the digestive tract, in a lot of cases, we will do an ultrasound first, but in some cases, we may have to do other ways to look at the gastrointestinal tract. So sometimes a barium study or even a scoping might help us to better identify if there's, say, a polyp along the way, a mass, or some changes that could cause some outflow obstruction out of that area. So those would be some of the
metabolic part of her losing weight and still having an appetite. And I do feed her, twice a day small meals. And for her, size, I think the meals are appropriate. It's just that, dogs sometimes tendency to overeat. She definitely seems to want to eat any time.
Yeah. And I'd say if she's taking in about the normal amount that she has in the past and she's losing weight, then there's a disparity there somewhere.
Right.
And there are definitely, whether it's a chronic health condition or something of a cancer nature, we know that the body needs more energy and can't utilize it well when we're fighting those problems. So that can explain perhaps why she might be eating okay or even have a strong appetite and losing weight. So I guess in the back of my mind, I'd say, I'd encourage you to keep looking because some things it certainly would be better to tackle head on rather than kind of wait for them to become more of a problem and become more apparent. And I don't know that, the leg thing probably gets me too excited about the licking on the leg. But definitely
she chews on it, that one joint, and she's caused a sore. And so I've gone to a naturopath and acupuncture and that stuff. It doesn't. She still chews on it, and it's all brown, from her chewing and licking.
Yeah, and definitely a lot of dogs can do that where we see what we call a lick granuloma, and that's oodles of things can cause that, from allergies to boredom to you name it.
Yeah.
But I'd really say that, I think in this situation, I would encourage you to move forward. And in the meantime, we might try things, with a pet that's having some, vomiting ongoing. We might try some hypoallergenic diets or some easily digestible diets, as well as...
Usually just when my husband feeds the dog because he overfeeds it.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that's all it is. But definitely, I'd say, if the weight losses continue, I'd stir up the old doctor's phone and say, hey, I'm ready to take that next step and, see if there's more going on there.
Would you recommend any other specific blood test? I mean, they've ruled out thyroid, they've ruled out diabetes, because she isn't, drinking and peeing a lot, and so it's not that.
Yeah, and that's a good question. There are some health conditions with the pancreas that can cause some problems with weight loss. Generally, we'll see vomiting, diarrhea, some other things, and that would be more in the TLI family or the PLI, and those are specialty pancreas tests that can be done. I'd have to say, though, if they feel something kind of strange in the belly, I'd follow their instincts and track that, because some of these other things we can do. We vets, we can add on all sorts of tests, but I'd say we want to pick with clinical interest and really, what's most pertinent to your situation and to your pet situation. And I would certainly track that way first, maybe before we go looking for, other tests that we can do.
Yeah.
But,
okay. So they ultrasound, when they said $240, I said, oh, well, let's see if she gets better.
Sure. Well, that... The blood test I'm proposing, at least in my area, can easily run you $120. So it's, we're starting to get into some more costly things. So, I'd say as much as you probably don't want to hear those dollar signs jingling along with that, it might be the most prudent way to go for at this point.
Okay.
So
that way they can tell if it's a mass that's causing pressure that's making her throw up when she overeats and
Yeah, if there's a mass effect in that area. And again, we can't see everything, those little polyps inside the lumen or inside the structure of the digestive tract. But the big things, hopefully they'll be able to pick that up and give us some direction on that. So I hope that helps you and gives you some food for thought there, Karen. And best wishes to you and your baby, and hope she has a speedy recovery there. This is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio at 1-866-405-8405.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hey, this is Paula Poundstone. Wait, I forget where I am.
Animal Radio.
Animal Radio. I love that. All right. Hey, this is Paula Poundstone on Animal Radio. Spay and neuter your pets or we're going to be eaten alive.
And now an Animal Radio news brief.
I don't know about you, but I love to kiss my dog. I have a friend, oh my gosh, they need to get a room, that dog and her. She goes crazy with the dog. Many people share the belief that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's. A pet's saliva can somehow cure human cuts and scrapes. Well, these are just some of the beliefs held by pet owners, according to a new study. Dogs' mouths are certainly not cleaner than a human's. Dogs can carry a variety of germs and bacteria in their mouth that stem from buildup of plaque and tartar that can potentially make humans sick. A healthy mouth is actually essential to the overall well-being of your pet, but misguided information about pet oral health can affect more than just your pet's mouths. For proper pet oral health, veterinarians advise daily brushing or giving veterinary oral health counsel approved dental treats and at least an annual oral exam by a vet with professional cleanings as recommended.
This has been an Animal Radio news brief. Get more at animalradio.pet.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
Hey, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Red Barn canned food for cats and dogs is grain and gluten-free.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. If you'd like to talk to Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani, you can call now, toll-free, 1-866-405-8405. And you can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. And this healthy serving of Animal Radio is brought to you by the grain-free Red Barn Naturals canned food for dogs and cats. Always made in the USA with natural, functional ingredients to support your pet's optimal health. It's available, or you can learn more over at redbarninc.com. And thank you, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio. Now, rumor has it, word is that next hour, Jane Goodall will be joining us. Is that
rumor has it?
Yeah, and this is not the first time you've tried to get her on.
You know what? We've been on the air for many, many years.
18.
Yes, and I've tried, not 18 times, but I've tried many times to get her on the show.
So today, and why is she coming on today? Do you know why? I mean, does she have a new project she's working on?
She seems like she always has projects she's working on, but she has the Goodall Foundation, and there's a company that's making a product which the proceeds are benefiting her foundation.
Ooh,
so
that's a real tease.
What kind of product?
Yeah.
Can we say what kind of product?
Actually, it's one of her favorite scents. It's called Lily of the Valley.
What is it, a perfume?
No, it's actually deodorant.
And
I'm wearing it, too. I'm wearing it today. I don't know if you can smell. I smell like Lily of the Valley today.
Smell your pits. What a lovely thing to say. Hey, can I smell your pits?
He's so romantic.
Okay, so Jane Goodall is in the antiperspirant deodorant business, and we'll be talking to her in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Also coming up this hour, a topic that's too familiar to Animal Radio listeners. It's pet insurance and when to buy pet insurance.
Or should you buy pet insurance? I don't know.
Seems like we talk about this a lot.
Me either.
We do. It's I think it's very polarizing for a lot of people, and some people have great experiences. Other people think you got to get something back from it, and if you're not getting paid from your insurance, then it's it's a bad thing.
Now, is this guy that we have on? Does he work for an insurance company, or is he objective or subjective? Is my question.
I don't think he works for a particular insurance company, so I think he works for many different ones. So I think he's going to give us some. Why do you look at me like that?
I'm waiting for you to answer the question.
I don't know. He works for insurancequotes.com, which leads me to believe that he's like an umbrella for many different types of insurance.
You don't know who's paying for that website.
Yeah.
And whose pocket. We'll find out. That'll be the first question I ask him.
Okay.
Who
pays him?
Yes. Who pays him? Where does he get his paycheck from?
Okay.
Because that's important to know when you ask these. When you get information about insurance or any product, you need to know where you're getting that information from and who's paying for that. Okay, so that's on the way. What are you working on for this hour, Lori?
Well, we have a cat custody dispute, but this case, wow, it doesn't involve a couple that's breaking up, like most of them. In this case, there is such a big uproar, though. And remember, no breaking up couple. But it's so big that the courts have been forced to get involved.
Really? And, of course, most courts look at animals as property, too.
Right.
So
They're changing. It's slowly changing.
Slowly. Okay, which one should we go to? Is this one for Dr. Debbie? Yeah, let's go to this one. Line 2. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Splendid. What can we do for you?
I've got a 8-year-old wire hair Dachshund, and over the last couple weeks, he is becoming more and more bloated. He kind of looks like how a puppy looks when he has worms and stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah.
His belly is getting that big.
Oh, dear. Okay. Well, what else is he doing? Is there anything else going on? Coughing, any vomiting, diarrhea, anything like that?
No, he's eating and he's going out there and using the bathroom. It's just he got into the garbage about 3 weeks ago. And I don't know if he could have a blockage or if he got worms from getting into the garbage.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm definitely disturbed that you're saying it's changing that much within that short period of time. So for me, I'm going to say, I would definitely, if he were in front of me, I'd be examining him, I'd be feeling that belly, and I'd probably get an x-ray of that belly because that quickly of a change isn't good. I would definitely want to be checking out his spleen, which is a really heavy blood-filled organ, and that can change in size very quickly. So that would be something I would definitely want to look at. Now, there are certainly some other things that cause, you mentioned worms. Generally, I wouldn't expect it to be that dramatic, that fast of a bloating, if you will, of his belly. Not a bad idea to do a deworming, but I think we got some bigger fish to fry here in this situation. Did you mention any kind of hair loss or anything else, anything going on there?
No, he's got all his hair. He's still, the happy-go-lucky bear that, he acts like a puppy. Mm-hmm. The only thing, like I said, is his belly. I drive a truck, and the last time I was in was a week ago, and I was just amazed at how big his belly had gotten.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to definitely tell you that personal experience here. My own Labrador started to be a little broad in the front part of his abdomen, and it wasn't hurting. He's still his normal self. And we actually, on an ultrasound, we found a small tumor in his spleen, but his spleen was kind of getting big as a result of having this thing in there and having to produce more new blood cells. And so we actually had to address that and deal with that surgically. But the big thing is, if you're seeing this get bigger, I don't think I want to have you delay this anymore. You need to get this baby to the vet, okay?
Okay. I'll do that as soon as I get home.
Okay, very good. And hope everything turns out okay. If you have other questions from there, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Stay safe.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hi, this is Brandon McMillan on Animal Radio, and be sure to adopt and not shop.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too, and we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido Friendly Magazine to find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. A custody issue over a cat has ended up in Quebec's highest court with a ruling just last week that an animal shelter there must reveal the identity of the family that adopted the formerly missing cat that was actually picked up as a stray. The Quebec Court of Appeals upheld a lower court decision that ordered that the name and contact information of the adoptive family be handed over to the animal's original owner. Now, the ruling says that Sunday, that's the name of the cat, who had been with his previous owner for about 8 years, that the cat wandered off from his home without wearing his collar or tag. Now, that was on or about April 13th of just this year. And then after he failed to return after more than a week, the owner reported Sunday missing 10 days later. So 2 months later, fast forward, on May 28th, the family was told, hey, we have the cat here at the shelter. But the next day, when they showed up, they were told that Sunday the cat was, in fact, already living with a new adoptive family. Ooh. So, yeah, somebody in this case really had their wires crossed and screwed up. But last month, a judge up in Canada ordered the shelter to hand over contact information for Sunday's new family. However, the animal shelter refused and appealed that decision, claiming Quebec's privacy laws prevented it from disclosing the new owner's information, probably like HIPAA laws here. But as of now, this saga continues, and at last report, the orange and white calico cat named Sunday had not been returned to his original owner. But I'm sure there'll be more in this case.
Wow. That's an incredible story. Let's follow that closely. I want to find out how that one...
Yeah, I don't think that they should give out the name and address.
Yeah.
I think that the shelter should contact the new owners and see if they'll willingly give it up, and then if they don't, let the courts intervene. But to give over the contact information to the previous owner, I think would just cause trouble.
How did the original owner lose the cat again? Just took off?
Because, yeah, they said he was a wanderer.
Okay.
And that they weren't surprised that he was gone for a few days. And then, so at 10 days, they contacted the animal shelter. Now, that would be at 10 days if April 13th was the date, because they said on or about April 13th he went missing.
I got to say,
they reported him missing on April 23rd.
Yeah, 10 days is a long time to not check with the shelters.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? Yeah. This is just another good reason not to let your cats wander outside. I mean, create a cattery for them or something. They'll live a much longer life if they live indoors and within, a cattery. We have one here at the Animal Radio Studios. The cats get to go out, and they're safe from the other animals, and they don't wander and take off.
And if you are going to do it, microchip.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, Judy.
Okay, well, we'll follow that story and be sure to hear the rest of it within the next few weeks or months here on Animal Radio.
Hopefully, yeah, or years, as the courts usually go.
Yep.
We all love lists, right? Because here's one that gets down to the minute details, tiny stuff. It's the top 10 list of the most popular small and tiny breed dogs. That includes all dogs under 30 pounds for a breed standard. And they are, according to the AKC, at number 10 is the Boston Terrier. In 9th place, Shih Tzus. In number 8 on the list is the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. At number 7 is the Pembroke Corgi. I love corgis. They're so cute. Miniature Schnauzers come in at 6th place. At number 5 on the list of the most popular small and tiny breed dogs in the U.S. is the Dachshund, the weenie dogs. Number 4 is the Yorkshire Terrier. And in the top 3, 3rd place goes to Poodles. Number 2 is the Beagle. That kind of surprised me. And the most popular small breed dog in the country. And I thought for sure.
Chihuahua.
Like, what do you... Exactly. That's what I thought. Chihuahua.
Yes.
What would you have thought?
I would have said the same thing, or a rat terrier, but either one. Yeah. So what is it?
It's the French Bulldog.
Really?
Chihuahua didn't make the list to the top 10.
None in the top 10? I know.
You know what my
I was
favorite breed
shocked.
is? My top breed, of course, is the mutt. I like the mutt. Just a combination of them all. You know?
I thought for sure you were going to say cat.
So did I. His favorite dog is a cat.
Right, yeah. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets, and Dr. Jane Goodall coming on next hour. Is that correct? You've tried several times to get her, and this is you've confirmed with her agency?
They tell me she'll be here today, I believe.
I'm actually a little nervous.
I know, we're all a little nervous here around the studio.
Few celebrities that make me nervous. And
she's
Jane,
legendary.
She is. That's the thing.
Yes, she's awesome.
I was also nervous for Smokey Robinson. I remember days before that interview. Turns out he doesn't even love animals.
But you know what? I was still so the one interview I
you were out
missed.
Of town.
I was out of town,
and
he was like my idol. Oh, I grew up with Smokey. Oh, some of these people, it's just wow.
Okay, so if you're an Animal Radio regular, you're no stranger to us. You know that we talk about pet insurance a lot.
Yeah, should you or shouldn't you?
And we all differ in the studio. As you might already know, I put a little money away in my bank account, and I gain a little interest on that. And I'm pretty disciplined on that. So if something happens that isn't really over-the-top catastrophic, I could probably cover it.
See, and I'm sorry I didn't get it because my dogs had 3 leg surgeries that cost me thousands of dollars each time.
Yeah, and Dr. Debbie, of course.
Yeah, well, I see the benefit every day with pet owners that fortunately have a policy in place to help them when they least expect it, or the alternative when they don't, and they have to make very difficult decisions because they don't have the financial means.
Sure. So if you are on the page of getting insurance, we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. We have Jason Hargraves. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, no, you're pronouncing it perfectly.
And you are the managing editor of InsuranceQuotes.com.
That's correct.
And who pays for that website? That's the first question I got to ask. Where do you get your paycheck from?
Well, basically, I do the editorial side. So we have a couple of websites that I cover all kind of topics of insurance, whether it's pet insurance or home or auto. And then basically that's what I do. But our site's funded by people coming who are looking for quotes from various insurance agencies, whether big or small. It's like a one-stop shopping spot. So they come in here and we try to get them together with an insurance agent that's going to best match their needs.
Okay, so are you being paid by the insurance companies or a particular insurance company?
I'm getting nothing from an insurance company.
Great. So, okay, what should we know when it comes to picking an insurance policy? What are the top things?
Well, the thing I like to tell people about pet insurance is that it's so much different than what you have for you or your family, and it can be a good thing or a bad thing how you look at it. But with pet insurance, as the veterinarian can attest, is that it doesn't work like humans. You don't go in and have a copay. It's basically an arrangement you have with the pet insurance company. So if your dog is hurt or has a disease, you're probably going to be out of pocket that money until you can get reimbursed, because it's up to you to then file the claim with the pet insurance company. So it kind of takes the middleman out, which some people enjoy because it can put more control in the pet owner's hand, and it's more flexible. You can use it, at any veterinarian. They don't have to be on, any kind of program or on take this type of insurance. So that gives the owner a lot more flexibility, but it can come as a surprise if you're expecting to go in to the veterinary office and all of a sudden you expect them to file an insurance claim and it work like that.
Is there any pet insurance that is like a pre-approval? I know my dog's going to have surgery, so I go to them for pre-approval and they approve it and they pay for it. There's nothing like that. I still have to pay for it up front and file a claim?
There's nothing like that. Now you will have your
actually
insurance.
There is. We actually operate with. I'm sorry to butt in.
No, go ahead.
But we do operate with one of the insurance companies, Trupanion, which does have a pre-approval. So I can have the client actually in the lobby tell them they need to do a $2,000 surgery, and they get on the horn to their insurance company to figure out how much that will cover. And they actually do also offer a direct pay option to the veterinarian, but it has to be set up in advance. advance. So I think some of that is, convenience based and establishment of, the company and with the relationship with a veterinarian. But, that's just one example. I'm sure there's others that are looking at that too.
Well, you're also, you're knowing in advance exactly what your pet insurance policy is covering, because you can get a policy that can cover a variety of issues for several different price points. So, it's good to know what's going to be covered when you're searching, and if it's going to be, if an accident's covered, or if, a long-term illness is covered. So you have an idea what's going to be covered. And that's great. I think if more people are looking into that, paying directly to the veterinarian, that's a great offer to have. I'm not familiar with it. Most of the people I've done with, it's all a reimbursement, but it's an ever-changing field. It's gotten very popular in the last few years. We haven't heard of it, and so much of the healthcare has gotten so much better for animals. We didn't have the technology before, so the marketplace for pet insurance is really rapidly changing, as we just found out.
So,
but I was going to say, Jason, you're so right. There are a lot of misconceptions. And the one I have to say that I heard this just the other day when I was in the office, and a cat was sick, had a major illness that came up. And then, the pet owner turned to the veterinarian and said, so how about that pet insurance? I can get that now, right? It'll help cover the cost. So people think that you get it after your pet is sick to help you pay less. And, I guess, you can clarify how insurance works, but it's hedging the bet that your pet will never need that insurance, not after they get sick.
We're with Jason Hargraves. He's the managing editor at insurancequotes.com. Yeah, we're talking insurance again, and so many questions, more on the way. Stick around.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Red Barn canned food for cats and dogs is grain and gluten-free.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
It's Animal Radio, and we are with Jason Hargraves. He's the managing editor at insurancequotes.com, and we are talking pet insurance. So I got to think some insurance is more expensive than other insurance. How much does it really cost?
Yeah, exactly. And, we have our data from, I believe it's 2017, that says, the average annual premium to have pet insurance for dog is about $517 and about $321 for a cat. So it's a little cheaper to insure a cat. Their medical bills tend to be a little cheaper also. So that's something to weigh in your mind. If that's how much I'm going to spend a year, I think our data also shows that, an average routine care vet visit can be, around the $200 mark. But if you're talking about there's been an accident, your dog was hit by a car or something very severe, these averages are not going to be of any good to you then. It's going to be an extremely high medical bill.
Yeah. Do more dog owners get pet insurance than cat owners?
By far.
Really?
And so that's one of the sticking points I always like to point out. Dog owners are much more into pet insurance than cat owners. And there's about 1.8 million pets in North America that are covered by pet insurance. And that sounds like a great idea until you really do the math. And that's only about 1% of the cats and dogs in America.
Wow.
In Sweden, don't half of the pet owners have insurance? Isn't that a pretty commonplace in Sweden?
Yes, it is. And that's where it sort of all started was it was very popular in Scandinavia and those countries. And the idea of pet insurance came here. I think our first pet policy was in '82. It was to Lassie, which had some PR motivation there also. But yeah, the U.S. and North America is a little late to game compared to some other countries.
So is pet insurance like human insurance in the fact that my dog is 10 years old. I didn't get it when she's a puppy. If I get it now, is it going to cost me a lot more per month than it would have if I got it as a puppy?
I suspect it would. And what probably would happen at 10 years old, you probably would have a very difficult time finding pet insurance. Now, that said, you can find policies that have a variety of coverages or a variety of exclusions. For instance, your dog may be 10 years old, so there could be a lot of health issues that may be around the corner. So your health and the pet insurance could be, they could say, well, maybe something more affordable would be an accident-only insurance policy. So that way, only if he was hurt in an accident would it pay, so bring your premiums down.
Oh,
you can work with and get coverage, but I think at that stage, if you wanted a full-service coverage, think you'd be hard-pressed to find, but if you did, it would be expensive.
Yeah.
My problem would be choosing it. You say that coverage can vary wildly from policy to policy. And when I think about human coverage, I think there's minimal differences between policies, but apparently not so with pet insurance. What is it we should be looking out for when we choose these?
Well, I think there's not exactly the same regulation in the pet health insurance business, but I think the biggest thing is actually what is covered, because your expenses are going to be if you have to take your vet because of an accident, broken bone or an accidental poisoning or ingesting a foreign object. I know we've had dogs that like to eat rocks in the backyard, never a good thing. Or versus chronic diseases or diseases that may just come on all of a sudden, like pancreatitis or something. So really understand what it's covering and make sure these items are covered so you're not surprised. And again, many policies will offer just an accident-only policy, which is much cheaper. But then again, that doesn't help if your dog develops cancer or has some kind of heart ailment. So you really have to investigate and always go through a mental checklist like, okay, well, what if this happened? And, ask the insurer, well, was this covered? Is this covered? So you really have to really ask the questions and know what's covered. And that's the best thing I do in shopping around. Whatever's going to give you the peace of mind. But, talk to the insurer and actually give them some case scenarios. If this happens, X, Y, Z, am I covered or am I not covered? And they can build you a policy that fits those needs. So there is some flexibility, but obviously you're going to pay more for more coverage, and especially if your pet's older.
I think a lot of our apprehension towards pet insurance is we all have these preconceived notions. And so I'm thinking, what is my preconceived notion? It is that with rescue dogs or dogs you adopt from shelters and stuff, you don't know their past history. So I think that I'm going to be denied insurance. Is that true, or how do they do that?
Well, you're not going to actually have a health screening for your dog before the insurance company. Age is important. And, as far as pre-existing conditions, that's kind of a loose situation. Again, depending on the policy and how they want to cover it. But your medical records, it's not going to be as thorough as you would for human health insurance. So, again, you just have to find the right provider. And a good thing, too, is if you do have a dog from a shelter, or you have a dog that's 10 years old, or maybe you don't know how old your dog is. That's something to be very upfront about, because the last thing you want to do is pick a pet insurance company that's going to end up not paying because you forgot to tell something or disclose it. So the best thing is take your dog's information and let the insurer know up front, because you don't want to be on the back end of that and find yourself stuck with a huge bill and coverage that you just don't have.
Well, in that case, is there maybe a company that you would recommend that people who do the adoption rescue thing would be better going with?
There are so many new companies coming on board and so many new options. I would really just recommend shopping around for it, because they're tailor making a lot of these policies to fit consumers' needs. And if you do end up having a lot of people getting rescue animals, for instance, they could easily create a whole subgroup for that. So like I said, there's new companies being added every day, and it's a growing field, especially in this country. So, always just check the marketplace and see what's out there.
Okay, we appreciate your time today, Jason Hargraves. The website, insurancequotes.com, will put links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet. And we'll head back to the phones next. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
Here is today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. The 2020 Nissan Titan has been successfully craned into Nissan Stadium, replacing the 2016 Titan XD that previously inhabited Nashville's most coveted tailgating spot. In total, 3 new 2020 Titan pickup trucks will be added through the Nissan Stadium. The new 2020 Titan atop the Gate 4 joins the rest of the Nissan lineup of vehicles displayed at specific gates throughout the stadium. To find your new Nissan, see our reviews at ourautoexpert.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service. For professional parts people you can trust, stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And this hour, Dr. Jane Goodall is supposed to join us. She is one of my heroes, my mentors. I've always wanted to... I visited with very few monkeys or chimpanzees in my life. I can list them on like one hand, maybe two. Michael Jackson's.
Yeah.
Got to visit with him.
Bubbles. I did too.
Bubbles, yeah.
Yes, I met Bubbles.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. But, there's not a lot of places or opportunities other than zoos really to visit with chimpanzees. Dr. Jane Goodall has spent an entire life living amongst the chimpanzees. And you know what I heard? I heard that her father gave her a chimpanzee toy when she was just a little tot, and her father's friends said that he shouldn't have given her the toy because it will give her nightmares.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Go figure.
It made her dreams come true.
It did. So we're going to find out a little bit about what she has done and what she's doing now, because she's very involved now. How old is she now? Can we do the math on that? She was born in 1934. I cannot wait to speak to her. I'll tell you that right now. And I'll do the math during the commercial break.
She is 84.
84 years. Really?
Yes, she's 84.
And she's still touring. She
Wow.
has 300 speaking engagements a year.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, so that's on the way, coming up in, approximately 35 minutes or so right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on for this hour?
Oh, I have a really bizarre story. A police dog I will tell you about, who I don't know if I should say killed in the line of duty, as maybe this dog was actually killed by another police officer.
Kind of like a homicide, a police dog homicide.
Right. But these apparently happen. It's not as rare as you would think, and it wasn't an accident. So we'll explain the whole story in the couple cases that we know about.
Okay. And we're going to line 4 for Dr. Debbie.
Okay.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on in your world?
Well, I have a 5-year-old mixed breed dog who is part shepherd, female, and she is having issues with bladder stones. About 4 months ago, we had one removed, and she has another.
Okay. Did you have the stone analyzed? Do we know what it was made out of?
No, we did not do that one. We will on this one. I still have that stone, actually.
Oh, well, excellent. You take that to your veterinarian and send that out. The reason is because it's so important that we know what these stones are made of. Some stones we can prevent with diet. Some breeds are kind of predisposed to a certain variety of stones. There's calcium-based stone, phosphorus, silica, urate. Oh my gosh, there's so many. In German Shepherds, I would first think of a silica-based stone. It's one that this type of breed is just prone to. And so that's where that test is going to be so important to have that analyzed. If it is, it can be a very challenging stone to prevent, but some steps that we'll do are to move to diets that are very low in vegetable matter. Silica is very rich in things like different types of corn hulls, rice hulls, soybeans, anything basically that kind of grows out of the ground. Even potatoes can have silica. So for pets that have this particular type of stone, we'll go to more of a no-grain diet. But the big thing is if anything is reoccurring, we got to make some steps and do some dietary changes to try to help out. And then the other things going along with that, any type of bladder stone, the ways we can help a pet to expel those crystals and the microscopic forms of those stones is to make sure they're producing lots and lots of urine. And the way we do that is we encourage them to drink, but you can't always force it down. But we can add things like a little bit of salt to the food, and that increases their thirst, and that'll increase the urine output. The other thing would be just a simple way to do that is canned foods have a higher moisture content. So whatever diet your veterinarian says is going to be the appropriate one for your baby, the canned varieties are definitely going to be the better way to go to just try to create lots of urine. And that way, we help to kind of basically flush the system naturally and try to get those crystals out before they build up into a stone. But there's a lot of other things that we have to look at. So really the first thing I'd say is get that stone tested and then find out if we've got infection going on, because there's some stones that will be triggered by a low-grade infection in the bladder, and we've just got to get more info to better tackle this for the future.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, good luck with that, Cheryl, and give your baby a pat on the head. This is Dr. Debbie. We're all here waiting for your calls on behavior, medical care, or just to baloney with us. Give us a call at 1-866-405-8405.
And let's go to Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Okay, what's going on with your animals?
Well, my dog, I don't know what happened.
It sounds a little windy there.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm walking. Hang on one second. I'm getting in my car right now. Okay. So last night, my dog, she was perfectly fine. And then when we went to bed, she started yipping like her bottom hurt. And her tail's tucked, and she hasn't gone to the bathroom. She hasn't pooed or peed or anything.
Wow.
And I'm very concerned.
Okay. And so this happened all of a sudden then, huh? Is she doing anything as far as like limping, or is she jumping up on her bed, furniture?
Nope. She wasn't doing anything like that.
How about anything like licking or scooting her butt, doing anything of that nature?
No, I haven't seen that either.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd have to say the first thing that I think of with a Chihuahua, and that's having symptoms kind of to the back end with a tuck tail and seeming like we're uncomfortable and not really doing our normal things, not jumping, not eliminating on the normal schedules. The first thing that I would look at is really to look at her spine.
Okay.
Because I do commonly see Chihuahuas where they can have problems with disc problems. So basically with their spine. And that can cause just kind of a referred pain to the lower part of the abdomen and the hind end. And because it hurts to go to the bathroom, they may not go.
Right.
And your veterinarian can kind of get a feel for this by feeling along her spine and seeing if she shows some reaction. But ultimately, they'll probably want to do some x-rays. And the other reason I'd want to do x-rays would be to make sure that she doesn't have any problems with her bladder or her colon.
Right.
Because you said she's not going. Want to make sure she's not blocked in any way.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so I do think that would be something I would really look at and see if we need to get this gal some pain medicine, at least in the meantime, while they're figuring some stuff out. So yeah. And and a couple of things you said, not wanting to jump up and down and with that tail being held down. So if it is something with her spine, the way I always describe this to people is that for us, if we have a back problem, we don't do much. We lay down. We just kind of stay put. And dogs, they're horizontal, their spine. So anything that causes that horizontal spine to kind of move up and down at either end can cause pain. So going upstairs or jumping on or off furniture or sometimes even just lifting the head can cause pain. So so that would be kind of on my concern list. So definitely get that checked out and let us know how things turn out.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your call. Toll free 1-866-405-8405 to reach out to the Dream Team. Don't forget you can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and BlackBerry. Hey Richard, how you doing?
Well, our dog has
dogs.
Has what?
I said dogs. Well, dogs.
Have what? Here, you talk about it.
Oh no, the house.
They got stuff in their ear.
Crusty, and the one yelps when you touch your ear.
My wife says it's crusty looking. Is it white or black or green?
Like little white lumps.
Little white lumps.
Okay.
And it's crusty.
And it's crusty.
And the dog yelps with you.
And the dog, yelps just a little if you touch your ear.
Now, you mentioned you have more than one dog, and they both have the same problem?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little problematic for me because in general, when we talk about ear problems in dogs, there's not a lot of things that are really contagious. And if I'm from Vegas, so if I'm going to put my gambling chips on the line, I'm going to say it's a little unusual to have something in both dogs that isn't contagious. So the number one thing I'd really go looking for is ear mites, which are a contagious parasite that can cause ear problems, a lot of itchiness, discomfort, very scratchy pets when they have that. But there are other things, and we look at anything from infections of yeast, bacteria, to little foxtails, those little plant parts that work their way in the ears. So if both pets are in the same environment, yeah, I guess they could get those. But I really want to check out your pets and see if they might have something like ear mites. And that's something easily done. You'll walk into your local veterinary office and you ask them to take a sample of that and look at it under the microscope. And, cool stuff moves around when we find ear mites. So if it is something like that, it is very treatable.
They're pretty much indoor dogs. You know, we just let them out to go to the bathroom, and they're chained up. It's not like they run through any fields or, you know, they're running all over the place.
Okay. And usually for something like ear mites, it is contagious between pets. So if there's a new animal in the home, whether it's a rabbit, a cat, or a dog, if they're sharing the same environment, then that could be contagious. Now, if they're not running at large and they don't really have contact with other pets, maybe it's less likely. But either which way, the number one thing I'm going to want to have to help answer this question is really to get a sample of that and look under a microscope. Because that's really the heart of where we start with these type of problems. I could list 1 million products to have you go purchase and put in your pet's ear, but it'll be just as worthless as flushing the toilet. So the number one thing is really for any pet with an ear problem to really get a good direction and a diagnosis. And that is the biggest problem and the biggest reason why a lot of pets' ear infections don't get effectively treated, because we kind of home treat, or we go over to the local pet store and we pick something off the shelf and we try to see if that will do the trick. But I really can't advocate enough that we get at least one of these babies to the vet, but I would preferably get both of them over there.
Okay.
Thanks for your call, Richard. Good luck with that. Let us know if you need a follow-up. It's toll-free, 1-866-405-8405.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Yeah, puppy pads are convenient, but sometimes they're really gross. That's why the Animal Radio studio stunt dog, Ladybug, uses the Brilliant Pad self-cleaning puppy pad. We love how it handles number 1 and number 2. It seals away the waste and replaces dirty pads for us. Brilliant Pad keeps our home clean and smelling fresh. All we do is replace the roll once every few weeks, and the process is fast and clean. In fact, Ladybug gives it 5 paws up. Learn more about it at brilliantpad.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
You found us. It's Animal Radio, and this is where we celebrate the connection with our pets. Go ahead, bring them around the radio. If they're not around, grab them. They like the show, too. And if there's something you hear on the show, whether it's a book or a product or just a guest that you're interested in, you can head on over to animalradio.pet, P-E-T, animalradio.pet, and select the As Heard on Animal Radio badge and get more information about this, all of the things that you hear on Animal Radio. And, of course, we encourage you just to do that anyway. Just visit the website and maybe even download the Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. The beautiful thing about this app is whenever there's a recall or news that really affects you and your pets, we'll push a notification to you. So you'll know immediately and you'll stop feeding your pet that food that's been recalled. So it's a great app to have. It's free. It has the latest news on it. And just go to your Apple Store or your Google Play Store and download it. Look for it. It's the Animal Radio app. And in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be talking to, or we're supposed to be talking to Dr. Jane Goodall. I'm a little skeptical, but we'll see if that happens. Lori, you're going to do a newscast in about 10 minutes. What do you have coming up for this hour?
The Rainbow Bridge, supposed to be all peaceful and everything, right?
Yes.
I mean, when we lose our animals. But there's some drama behind the Rainbow Bridge poem. We'll tell you about that.
Really?
And, and also the unusual mode of transportation that led a cat nearly 1,000 miles away from home. with a happy ending.
Wow.
That's on the way. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Hi.
Where are you calling from today?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Beautiful place.
Oh, it is.
I have Dr. Debbie right here. What's going on with your animals?
Well, we've got a 7-month-old kitten, and he's very loving and sweet and purrs all the time. You know, my alarm goes off in the morning. He makes a mad run for me to say good morning. Just one of those wonderful little kitties with me. The problem is my husband. The two of them don't have the best rapport, and I'd like them to have a friendship going. He'll go to pet him, and he'll move away, or he'll pick him up, and he wiggles and tries to get away. And is there anything that we can do?
So is this only with your husband? Have you had other folks, other people to the home, other men, or other visitors?
Not really. We really don't get too much company. We're kind of new to the area at this point.
Okay. And does he ever display any kind of, more than just not wanting to be by him, anything aggressive where he's scratched or bitten, anything like that?
He has. Yeah, scratched and bit a couple of times.
Okay. What was your husband doing at the time? I got to ask.
We just went to pet him.
Just went to pet him. Okay, I just want to make sure he wasn't doing kitty harassment. You know, a lot of men like to put their hands on the cat's head and like shake it like they're a dog.
I'm offended
like,
you say that.
Well, they do. I see it all the time. I'll see a nibbling little kitten in a room, and it's kind of biting at my fingers while I examine it, and I'll be like, well, this is strange. And then you see the man in the household going up to the kitty and rubbing the head, and then they start nibbling.
They like that.
No, they don't. They like it, but it teaches very bad habits, Hal. So, but we're digressing here. We're going back to Lisa here. So for your little guy, as far as, does he ever react that way with you?
No. Once in a great while, you know, if he wants to go play or something, he'll try and wiggle out of my hands, but that's a rarity.
All right. Now, some things, you know, some cats don't really dig being handled and restrained. So there's that potential issue. Now, you may be the favored person in the household, and many cats have the favored person, and we may not always change that. That's kind of a set thing for some cats. They love their one human, and they tolerate the other humans in the house. So that could be a scenario you're in. Now, a couple things we can try to really help him try to accept your husband would be to use the great motivator, food. So the goal would be to have your husband become the primary feeder in the household, not leaving food out, not leaving it sitting there. We want to reward him for tolerating the presence of your husband, if you want to say it that way. But so having him be the one that presents the food, the treats, all of that kind of thing. But if the food's always there, there's no reward for an unhungry cat. So that would be the number one thing that I can advise for you. The second thing would be is to really try to get some other humans around this kitty. And we can find that some cats and even dogs just really have problems with certain physical types. And not to say they're discriminating, but there's some things that kind of freak them out. They can be men with really deep voices, men that are tall, people that wear hats, different physical traits, even people that might even be in a wheelchair or have a cane. That can kind of put off some animals that aren't really accustomed to those things or those physical traits. So I would definitely encourage getting some other male people around your kitty and see how he reacts with them. This could be something across the board that he's having. In that case, then we really need to work on kitty socialization with the humans in the home. And again, food is the great rewarder. That's where I pull out the really stinky cat food, the canned treats, those delicious little treats that you have in the cans that you shake and the cats come running. All of those kind of things we're really going to want to use to be that positive motivator for those people that might be different or new to the kitty. And in the end, we'd have to go back to your husband and make sure he's not doing any of the head rubbing, the rough play. If so, we want to use an extension. We want to use things like those cat dancer toys, the feathers on a stick toys, things that remove the human from that close vicinity of that really rough play. Because that really just sets up for these kitties to becoming kind of mouthy and aggressive when the human hand is in their immediate environment.
Okay.
I hope that helps you there, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the advice.
Thanks for your call. 1-866-405-8405 to connect with anyone of the Dream Team right now.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Here is today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. Aston Martin has announced a large range of DBX accessories. There will be 11 individual accessory packs to help tailor the DBX to a broad range of pursuits and hobbies. The options available in each of the carefully selected packages encompass everything from details such as illuminated tread plates, polished carbon fiber tailpipe finishes, to much larger options for carrying bicycles and surfboards on the roof. To find your new Aston Martin, see our reviews at ourautoexpert.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service. For professional parts people you can trust, stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. A Waco, Texas police officer shot and killed a police dog last week after the dog bit its handler as the officers were trying, on the job to serve a search warrant. Man, I was shocked when I read this report, but apparently it happens more than we think it does. And here's what happened in this case. As the officers had approached the house where they were serving the warrant, the police dog was with them. It was a Belgian Malinois. Looks kind of like a German Shepherd. But the dog turned and bit its handler. Waco PD says at this point, the other officer on the scene was forced to shoot to put down the dog in order to save the handler, who was later taken to the hospital, and they said that he would be fine. But this has happened before, and even at the Waco Police Department. It was, in fact, 17 years ago, when a Waco police officer shot and killed the department's 3-year-old Dutch Shepherd. That dog was named Blur. When the dog and its handler were searching for a stolen car suspect, and the dog attacked another officer who had approached the dog from behind. And they say that the dog was actually trying to protect that officer. But then last month, a canine officer in Ohio was attacked by his dog when the officer was trying to verbally correct the dog. And the dog turned on him and attacked him, forcing the officer to shoot and kill the dog. So it's not a rarity, but crazy, huh? Well, if you've ever lost a pet, I know that you have heard about the Rainbow Bridge, mythical overpass bridge into the sky said to connect heaven and earth. But it's also a spot where grieving pet owners supposedly reunite with their dearly departed pets. This all started as a poem about the Rainbow Bridge. Though its origins are disputed, this poem actually launched the myth. That was back in the 1980s. And at least 3 men are still claiming to have written the original Rainbow Bridge poem, but it's hard to know exactly which one really did write it, since all 3 of them wrote similar books in the 1990s about pet loss. Pretty weird, huh?
Yeah, I want to know who wrote it. Come on, guys, all 3 of you. Who's telling the truth?
Yeah. The poem and the books that followed, though, however, did validate the big need for support and helped create a new social understanding that pet deaths are devastating for their humans. But I've always wondered about that. Where did this Rainbow Bridge thing begin?
I read it one time at the funeral of one of my cats. It was very comforting.
And that's the key. It is very comforting. Speaking of cats, Bobby the cat went missing from his home in Great Falls, Montana, more than a year and a half ago. However, his owner, luckily retired, 73-year-old Kyle Peterson, he never stopped trying to find Bobby. And last month, everything worked out. Bobby was found roaming the streets of Fallon, Nevada. Correct. Yes, Bobby had left Great Falls, Montana, turns up in Fallon, Nevada, after being picked up as a stray by animal control there. A quick scan of Bobby's microchip revealed that he was indeed more than 900 miles away from his home. So with that, luckily, that microchip information, the shelter was able to get in touch with Bobby's owner. And after hearing how far that Bobby had traveled, Mr. Peterson believes that the cat actually wandered away from home and somehow hopped on a passing train, which there are train tracks right across the street from his house, and somehow Bobby got on one of those trains. But he's back home now.
Jeez.
Good ending, though.
I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, this is Justin Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family. I'm on Animal Radio. Adopt a pet.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. We're going to visit with somebody who we've long time wanted to visit with. Dr. Jane Goodall is joining us. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
You know what? First of all,
you're speechless.
I
Hal.
am, because I have so many questions and so many things that I want to talk about. As a youngster, I've always wanted to. I loved primates, and I still do. But there's really no way for me or the general population to interact or really get to know primates. What do you suggest from somebody who's spent a lot of her life living and really learning primates? How can someone like me get interaction with a primate?
Well, I first of all have to tell you that you're a primate, and so am I.
Okay. I guess
it should be fairly easy, but I think you mean non-human primates.
Exactly.
Probably.
That's what I mean. Thank you.
Anyway, well, there are some really, really good chimpanzee exhibits in zoos, and there are also sanctuaries. Where chimps rescued from bad zoos, from circuses, and from medical research. A lot of people go down to South America, and there are trips there. You can go and see various monkeys out in the forest. So there are different ways that you can learn about our cousins.
Your first experience with a monkey, or a chimpanzee, should I say, was actually a toy, right?
That's right. It was given to me by my father when I was 1.5 years old, and there were a few of them made when the first chimpanzee to be born in London Zoo, in the whole of England, I think. And it was named Jubilee because it was the Jubilee year of the King and Queen. And everybody thinks that it was because of that toy that I ended up studying chimpanzees, but of course it wasn't, because I wouldn't, nobody knew anything about them. They were exotic. I wouldn't have thought it possible. I went to Africa with the goal of living with any sort of animal out in the wild and writing books. That was the goal. And I met Louis Leakey, and he's the one who suggested chimpanzees. So it was like a kind of strange, I don't know.
But it could have been any animal for you. I mean, as a youngster, I understand you used to hide behind the hen house to watch the hens?
Just see where where the eggs came from?
That's right. I hid in a small stuffy hen house waiting for a hen to come in. I waited 4 hours, apparently, which I think most 4-year-olds probably wouldn't have that patience. So I guess I was born, with curiosity, and fortunate to have an amazing mother who supported my interest. And although she was really worried because I was lost for 4 hours, she didn't get angry when I finally rushed towards the house all excited. And, a different kind of mother might have crushed that early curiosity, and I might not have done what I've done.
Back when you went to Africa, that was kind of unusual for a single woman to go. So were you ordered to bring your mother, or did your mother volunteer to go with you on this trip? What a great mom.
Well, the first time I went, she didn't come. That when I met Louis Leakey, I went on my own, and I was invited by a school friend, and I was out there for about 1.5 years. And that was when Leakey asked if I would do it. And then there was a year to wait while he found the money, and I hadn't been to college, you see, so it was hard to find anyone who had faith in this crazy idea. And then the British authorities in what was then Tanganyika, the crumbling remains of the British Empire, they refused for me to go on my own. And that's when Mum volunteered. I think Leakey twisted her arm a bit because he wanted someone who wouldn't compete with me or, So anyway, she came for 4 months. Amazing.
What an amazing mom.
She was.
Hey, Jane, I have a question about kind of the preservation of different species. When I was a kid, I had a grade school teacher that was very opposed to zoos. And when I was in her class that year, she wouldn't allow me to go to the zoo. She wouldn't let her class go at all. I wondered how you see the role of zoos as either partners, or do you see them more as a problematic in preserving primates in the wild?
It honestly depends on the zoo. There are some creatures that I would want never to see in a zoo, like whales and dolphins. And fortunately, that's beginning to get through to people. Elephants shouldn't be in zoos either, because, they're big and the zoo isn't a place for them. But there are zoos that are getting better and better. They're educating people. They have great education programs. They're putting money and people, actually, into conservation in the wild. And I know so many people now in conservation who say, well, when I was small, I went and saw these animals in the zoo and watched them for hours and knew I had to grow up and help them.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the zoo and the animal. And I've seen exhibits where chimpanzees have large appropriate groups. They have lots of enrichment, which is the main problem with zoos. The animals get bored. Keepers who understand their needs, and I think they have a pretty good life, actually.
We got to take a quick break. We are with Dr. Jane Goodall. Stick around. It's Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
I'm Beth Stern on Animal Radio and Adopt from your local shelter.
If you're without dental insurance, do you have a plan to care for your teeth without spending a fortune? Introducing dentalplans.com. You can save 10 to 60% off your next dental visit, all for as little as $7 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And for a limited time, get 1 month free. 800-672-9202. 800-672-9202. That's 800-672-9202. Fees billed annually plus a $20 processing fee. Savings plans are not insurance. Savings will vary by provider, plan, and zip code. Consult with plan detail page for additional plan terms. Not all plans and offers available in all markets.
Hey, this is Nicole Sullivan on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets, please.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets and our primates, which could be you and me. I just learned that. With us is Dr. Jane Goodall. So you travel now about, 300 days a year, and you're mostly speaking about environmental crisis. And I'm wondering, how can I personally, just one single person, affect positive change?
Well, I meet so many people who have become aware of the mess that we've created on this planet. And you know as well as I do all the terrible things that are happening. And so people feel helpless and hopeless and therefore do nothing. But I always say to people, each day that we live, every single one of us, we make some sort of impact. Thinking about what we buy, where did it come from, how was it made, did it harm the environment, did it involve cruelty to animals like intensive farms, is it cheap because of child slave labor? So finding out a little bit about what you buy and making ethical choices, which if it was just you wouldn't do a thing, but there are now millions of people who are beginning to think this way. So if we look at the cumulative effect of millions and millions of ethical choices. So we need to buy products that haven't harmed animals, that haven't harmed the environment, and that hopefully give back a little.
I understand that you've teamed up with an antiperspirant or deodorant manufacturer.
Yes, I'm not sure that that's all that they do, but Schmidt, their products are cruelty-free. Nothing's tested on animals. It hasn't harmed the environment. And this deodorant, they asked me my favorite flower smell, and I said lily of the valley. So it's lily of the valley. And the Jane Goodall Institute gets 5% of every stick sold.
I like that. I like that. Is it just for ladies, or is there a men's antiperspirant?
I don't know.
If you want to smell like
I
lily.
want to smell of lilies of the valley. So
Well, I like this. I like the smell. I'm smelling some right now, and it smells very good, actually.
I'm wearing it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lovely smell, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Dr. Goodall, I'm wondering, you spent time that I was so envious of when I would see your documentaries living out there with these wild animals that you had been working with and were so tame and kind with you. Do you just miss that day, long for those days now that you're on the road so much?
Well, I think back of them with great nostalgia, and the recent Geographic. Have you seen Jane?
Yes.
Yes, we
No,
did.
I haven't. I haven't.
Oh, well, you should, because that's the best. It's the only one of all that have been made which takes me right back into the skin of 26-year-old Jane. And, seeing and feeling, I'm once again among those chimpanzees that I got to know so very well, Flo and Fifi and David Greybeard and Goliath. It's a very nostalgic feeling. But Gombe's not the same. Most of the chimps I really knew so well have passed on. They can live 60 years, but it was 60 years ago that I began. So it just isn't the same as tourists around and things. I was so lucky. I just had that world to myself.
You did. Now these days there are so many people who are getting involved in animal activism. How would somebody become a young Jane Goodall again?
Well, there are young people whose passion is to go out and study monkeys or apes in the wild. And if they really are passionate, probably these days they'll have to get some kind of degree. Leakey sent me, particularly because I hadn't been to college, because he thought I would have a mind that was uncluttered with scientific reductionism, as there was at that time. Animals didn't have personalities, minds, or emotions, according to science. But I was taught by my dog that wasn't true. So today people can study those things. But when I first dreamed of Africa when I was 10, everybody laughed at me. How will you get there? You don't have money in your family, and Africa's far away, and there's a war, and you're just a girl. But Mom always said, if you really want this, you're going to have to work extremely hard and take advantage of all and any opportunity, and don't give up. So that's what I say to young people as I'm traveling around. Many of them actually, they follow their dream and they get there. Even if they haven't got the degree and they're not doing, some kind of PhD or something, there are opportunities to volunteer in the sanctuaries in Africa. So there are many, many ways of living with animals and helping animals today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for...
Okay, wait. Virtual hug before she leaves.
Oh, we're going to give you a virtual hug. We love you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
I'll give you a pantoot. Here's your greeting from me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, before we get on out of here, I want to remind you, if you have a Shih Tzu, a Yorkshire Terrier, a Mini Schnauzer, or a Pug, check out Dr. Debbie's books, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. They are Kindle books available over at Amazon. And, of course, we have links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet. Go download the Animal Radio app now, please. Pretty please. And we'll see you next week for more Animal Radio right here on this fine station. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good one. I'm hoping my goosebumps from Jane Goodall will finally go away. Great show, you guys.
Looks like you have a rash.
Always adopt, don't declaw.
This is Animal Radio
Network.